of Mikasa, Sukasa. And I'm your humble host, Niko House. So I just wanted to share with you all an experience that I was very, very fortunate enough to be right in front of, very fortunate enough to be, to have witnessed it in person. And not only this particular situation, but in general, like the vibe of the entire convention, the underlying theme of the entire convention, as far as progressives are concerned, seemed to really be all encompassing in this interaction between Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders. Let's take a look. So, in case you missed that, Bernie walks up to Tulsi. He's shaking everybody else's hands, Tulsi gets up to go speak, walks up to Tulsi and gives her a full two-handed, open-armed embrace. And it reminds everybody of old times, huh? It reminds everybody of old times. It was one of those feel-good moments that I think people have really been wanting to see happen, whether it be rhetorically or otherwise. Since Tulsi is announced and since Bernie announced as well, there's been a lot of understandably so there's been a lot of skepticism. They're like, well, does Bernie still support Tulsi? Why has he been silent? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I want to be clear. This is complete and total speculation. But I do want people to understand something. Even though I even get frustrated with Bernie when he doesn't speak out on some things that I believe to be like cut and dry, you have to understand the position that both Tulsi and Bernie are in. Not from a popularity standpoint. That's not really it. We're still dealing with the Democratic National Committee. The same Democratic National Committee where Delaney just tried to get AOC to debate him on Medicare for All in the public forum. The problem is the DNC passed rules saying that if you debate in a public forum or even try to debate outside of an officially sponsored DNC presidential debate, then you would be kicked out of the presidential. Well, excuse me, you would not be able to attend any debates going forward. So I don't think that Delaney is high enough for that to matter. But I also recall there being an issue with like you getting, you might technically end up surrendering or violating that little agreement they have and surrendering your place as a presidential candidate in the DNC. So like it should be a big deal, but it's not applied to Delaney, but it would absolutely be applied to either Tulsi or Bernie. So like imagine if there was a narrative where they're constantly supporting each other, constantly getting behind each other, always getting each other six. Whenever one smeared, the other one smeared, and vice versa. Imagine if he wrote that letter on behalf of Tulsi Gabbard rather than Elizabeth Warren or Cory Booker. Well, they would say that they're colluding. They would say that they're colluding to give each other delegates so they can beat all the other candidates. They would probably say that specifically for Bernie, that would be a violation of his agreement, whatever agreement that may be, probably close to the same agreement as at the last election. And they would say, you are not the Democratic nominee. We do not want you to be the Democratic nominee because you're working to undermine the party. That is what they would say. And I'm sure that both Tulsi and Bernie are very aware of this. That's why it did my heart a lot of good. I mean, the hug went viral on Facebook and Twitter like that. I don't know if a lot of people have seen it on social media or on YouTube. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it. I haven't seen anybody make a video about it. But this is super important. And I need the context around this hug is pretty important as well, because at this convention, it was not representative at all of some of the animosity you get on Facebook or Twitter. Some of this Tulsi versus Bernie, Bernie versus Tulsi type of situation. It was very much so, we believe in each other. If you need anything, give me a call. I'm going to be excited if either one of them wins. We have to work together. These are the activists, the organizers, the people who really make things run. I mean, there's like one or two instances where there's some like low-key pettiness that goes on, but like it's very, very like, it's marginal, right? It's very marginal. And But everybody else, they were all about each other. We were all hanging out in the same caucuses. They were all giving glowing interviews about each other. When Bernie stood up to speak, they clapped. They clapped loudly. When Tulsi stood up to speak, they clapped loudly. Bernie people clapped for Tulsi, and Tulsi people clapped for Bernie. The Veterans Caucus was very nice. All the veterans loved both the candidates. No one showed any animosity towards me personally because of me endorsing Tulsi. They told me they understand exactly why I endorsed Tulsi. And none of the people that I saw with Tulsi were attacking Bernie. They said, I can't wait to see which one we get. They may have decided they're personally voting for Tulsi, but that doesn't mean they don't support Bernie. So this was a consistent theme I saw, and anyone who was there can agree with me from the start of the convention to the end of it. And thanks for the super chat, Stephanie. Thank you for working so hard for Tulsi. It's not just about Tulsi, it's about the movement. And I think that hug was just a not so subtle reminder that they are on the same side. And 100% of the time, we should make sure we remember that. We can obviously celebrate both, and we can critique both when it's necessary. Nothing wrong with it at all. But I think it really needs to be said that they are on the same team. There's no need to break down one to build up another. There isn't. They're both great. I personally objectively think that Tulsi's better to be commander-in-chief. That doesn't mean that Bernie wouldn't be a good commander-in-chief. Somebody else, like Kyle, for example. Y'all saw Kyle was on the show, Kyle Kalinske. He said he personally thinks that Bernie is better suited for the job. Guess what? If you saw the show, I was like, I understand why you feel like that. That's not a bad thing. It's not completely and totally irrational. There are merits to that statement. This isn't like saying Warren is more progressive than Tulsi. It's just saying, man, we have two juggernaut progressives in our midst, and we should be happy about this. If you asked Tulsi to go, would she do it again? Of course, she would gladly rip the DNC and vote and endorse Bernie. And if you ask Bernie if he wasn't running, who would he support? Who do you think? It's not even close. Nina regularly still calls Tulsi, her sister. So I just wanted to show that little clip for y'all, and I'm gonna show it one more time in case you missed it and just got in. So yeah, open arm, full embrace. Everybody else got a handshake. Everybody else, not Tulsi. That should let you know once again, they're on the same side. They still have all the love in the world for each other. But the reason, perhaps, that they're none of them, by the way, it isn't just Bernie. Tulsi hasn't mentioned Bernie's name unprompted either. Even when somebody mentions his name, she never really says his name. Maybe there's a little bit more strategy behind that than we originally thought. And with that being said, people, thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. And remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.
Get all of our notifications, and of course you can help us reach our goal of 500 patrons on Patreon by supporting the show by donating as little as $1. You can click on the link in the description below for that. And remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.